KLTV soundcheck, KLTV soundcheck.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Tuesday meeting of the VOCC. Mr. Scott Smith with us today. He's going to open our meeting with invocation, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Lord, for this time together. We thank you for your wisdom that you so liberally give to us, that we may work together in unity about county business and bring your purposes for the success of your people and all those you love within this building. I ask your blessing on each commissioner and every staff member here. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, sir. Those who want to join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Just a little bit about the agenda today. We do have a public hearing. It's a closed public hearing at 9:30. Building and planning project. Okay, well, I would ask for approval for the minutes of January 5th to 6th.
Move to approve the minutes of January 5th through the 6th, 2026.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Any questions, comments, corrections? Okay, seeing none. Call for a vote. Those in favor? Aye. Thank you. I'll run through consent agenda first. Call for bids. Call for bids for culvert pipe, beveled in sections, couplers, just different projects. And items 1 and 2 are together. It's an annual contract. We accept all bids. It's equipment for us during the year when we need it to do our work. Agreements, contracts, bid awards, public works. Execution, contract executions, Western United Civil Group LLC for the Allender Road Bridge replacement project. Remember, that's a project, the total amount is $1,647,545 and 25. That's fully funded up to $2 million. So I think we're in pretty good shape on that one. Personal service agreement with Gray and Osborne to provide assistance with implementation of municipal separate storm sewer systems. This went out for an RFQ. 5 applicants applied and this firm was chosen. It's up to a not to exceed amount of $120,000 over the term of the contract, which runs through December 31st, 2028. Contract extension with Advanced Electrical Technologies and on-call electrical services work at headquarters landfill. It's up to $150,000 contract. It's a 1-year contract with 1 extension available. Yeah, it's okay. Resolution, rescinding resolution number 25-061, which proclaimed an emergency due to damages to a storm drain sewer pipe on Sweet Birch Drive. We've finished that project. Board letters 2026 Commissioner Committee assignments were probably posted, right? Yeah. Completion letter with Advanced Excavating Specialist LLC on that Sweet Birch project that I just mentioned. And then 2 Federal Energy Regulatory Commission letters to Pacific Power on the Merwin Yale Swift #1 projects and on a spillway training wall on Merwin. Okay. Then vouchers last week in the amount of $469,940.85. That's consent agenda. Any questions, comments on consent?
Good morning, Commissioners. Item number 2, Public Works. What is the background on needing bids to dispose of polyethylene tubes and gutter brooms. There must be something special about that other than just plain garbage or disposal.
This isn't for disposal, it's purchase of disposable product. Sean, you can probably, I know
Well,
you're not in
it
that
says
role
disposal
anymore.
polyethylene brushes.
Yeah,
What the heck is the description?
Sean probably have a better answer than I will.
Morning, Chevrolet Finance Director. All of our toothbrushes and, oh, Susan's popping on here as well, use a toothbrush that wears out. And so as that's a wearable material, it is considered disposable, not a permanent. And so multiple of those will be purchased throughout the year. Once it's worn out, it's disposed of and a new one's put on.
Okay, so it should say, call for bids for purchase of these items, correct?
Correct.
Okay, a complete misnomer. I would think the wording should be corrected so people understand what the heck it means.
Yeah. So these are wear items and they are temporary in nature on the tool itself.
Okay, very good. Okay, I was going to submit a bid for taking care of some tubes.
Any others? Okay, I don't see anything online, so I entertain a motion to approve.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion to approve consent agenda as presented. Last call. Okay, seeing none, we'll call for a vote. Those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Motion items today. It's HHS, so
Hey, good morning. Gina James, Health and Human Services. We have a couple of items on the agenda today. Item number 8 is a contract amendment with the Washington State Department of Health. This amendment is adding a scope of work and funding for Group A water systems. Group A systems are those larger systems that have 15 or more connections. A little bit different than other water systems in that we don't permit or oversee these systems. The State Department of Health does, but they do reach out to work with local health jurisdictions to help complete the sanitary surveys that are required on those systems. They're required every 3 to 5 years, depending on the system and its components. So they're adding a scope of work and some funding to cover our costs for doing those sanitary surveys.
any questions on that? Yep.
Come on.
Question is how many, is Camelot part of that? Do
Right.
they have 15 or they fit that guideline or do you even know?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I can look in the database. It would be 15 or more connections serving public. So if those, I'm not sure, I'm not familiar with Camelot, if they're residential individual connections or if it's a public system. So maybe.
Okay. I'm sorry, but I have just a tad bit frustration. We've put in septic systems and we've different places, okay? They're expensive.
Mhm.
So if this, and they're private, okay, we've had to full the whole cost. So would these that you help with become the county property then? No, they would be toward the public, for the public. Okay, I think you should, I'm sorry, I'm really tight, cheap, I know, but 15 people, if they put their money together, it's not going to be that difficult for them. Whereas one person putting in one is a huge endeavor.
Mhm.
And I hope we're very selective with who we help, because unless it's got a huge problem like drainage, I don't see the county. I'm sorry, but if 15 people put their money together, they can do it. And I see us should be very selective. Aren't I cranky and nasty today? Got a headache.
Well, these are systems monitored by the state of Washington. They ask us to do some work for them, so they
So
pay
this-
us for the work they ask us to do.
Mhm.
I see. So, but so the state has actually
Control over.
controlled the thing.
We have, there have been, there have been private systems put in that then start to fail and the county does end up taking them over. We don't like to, but at times that has happened.
Okay, well, they have to, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just not fair how much money we put out.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Any other questions on that one? Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
I move approval of motion item number 8, contract amendment 25-002, subcategory 5 with Washington State Department of Health.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the contract amendment 25-002 with Washington State Department of Health. One last call. Okay, we'll call for a vote. Those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Gina, since these 9 and 10 are really kind of related, you might take those both up. Yeah.
Yes, items 9 and 10 are related. Item 9 is our state contract with the Department of Commerce for the Community Development Block Grant Public Services funding. This is funding that is designated for community action agencies. So locally, we work with Lower Columbia CAP and have historically used this funding for a Meals on Wheels program where they're preparing and delivering meals to low-income homebound seniors in the community, as well as opportunities for community-based lunches where they're gathering and serving a hot meal across the county. So we did a public hearing before the holidays, discussed the program with CAP here, and they shared some information. So what we have today is the state contract, which is $70,000, as well as the pass-through contract with Lower Columbia CAP for $66,500, which is the county's allowed to keep $3,500 for our costs to administer the program.
Okay. Questions on that? Like you said, we had them in December and chatted about that. I don't see anything online. If
Thank you. What is the root source of these funds? You say with the State Department of Commerce. Is this state funds that we've all paid for, or is it federal funds that we've paid for?
These are federal funds. It comes from the federal government to the state and down to counties.
Okay, so I'll add my standard comment. I'd also like to see not only compliance with the state commerce, but also with federal standards. Those had some specifics that our state is not happy with.
How do we go about implementing that, Gina? You know?
So I'll have to look back at typically if the federal government is passing funds down to the state, they pass down parameters with that funding, and then the state has to pass that down when they allocate the funding as well. Without reading through the contract, looking for that particular piece, I don't know off the top of my head what language it has in here that is coming down, but I do know the part of the federal standards are that it's to serve, you have to meet certain population thresholds. So the low income seniors, they're looking for those like population groups. And it is part of the federal standards that it go to a community action agency. I know those pieces are coming down from the federal guidelines.
Are we able to modify that, not take away, but are we able to add to those standards?
We could likely add our own standards as long as they don't conflict with what is our requirement.
So when this starts at the federal level, we got federal standards, but then it hits the state and they add state standards.
They may add their own standards, but they'll have to incorporate the standards that come with the funding.
So as you said previously, in a previous discussion we had, it's it may not be written directly, but we are anticipating that all of these programs are compliant with federal standards. And my point more is that it's clearly pointed out so that our local people know where the track comes back and that it is compliant with federal standards. And therefore we have a ground and you have a ground for asking for verification of compliance along the way. We're seeing through our government systems how important verification of compliance and a pathway is extremely important.
Other questions? Okay, if you're comfortable with it, I would entertain a motion for both if you'd like.
I move approval of motion items 9 and 10. Yeah, they're just enough different. I'll read them
Okay.
both, but
Okay, we have a motion to approve item 9, which is our Department of Commerce contract, and then the item 10, which is the one we passed through to CAB.
Did you add anything to it or you're leaving it just the way it is?
I'd have to go back and read through in more detail to really make a linear connection between what federal standards are being passed down. We incorporate everything that comes to us from the state. The state has to incorporate their parameters for the funding from the federal government. And I understand that's sort of a general statement about how that comes down, but I would have to take some time and really sort through what those federal government guidelines are that are coming down.
so the language may already meet what Ron's concern is.
We just don't know that.
We just don't know that at this point.
It's right. So like I said, my general understanding is all, the requirements come through with funding that it all has to be passed down. What those exactly are in terms of this grant, I would have to go back and kind of read more thoroughly to, pull those pieces out.
So you kind of make my point. I mean, you need to do some research to find out. The people downstream sure as hell don't know what they're supposed to comply with. Yeah, unless it's made clear.
So Gina, a question that I had with all of these agencies, they don't receive all of their funding from us.
Mhm.
So how do we go in and audit and ensure that what we're wanting for the portion that we're giving them, you understand what I'm saying? How do we know that that's taking place? Because we're not their sole source of funding.
Mhm.
And so do they have to open their books to us for everything that they receive? How do we discern what's what with regards to that situation?
Yeah, so we are able to look and verify the funding that the county provides. We also will verify, how they track and monitor. So if they're billing our contract for a service that is similar to, other funding that they have, we want to see how they, in practice, separate that out. So if it's staff time, for example, how are staff documenting the time that is spent towards this program versus another program? And how do they track that and be able to bill for that? So we'll look at that process as well as, receipts or invoices and everything that demonstrates that what they're spending is connected to what is allowable in this contract for the services.
So like, for example, just take the $70,000. That $70,000 is exclusively used for the purposes of, say, Meals on Wheels. But they're receiving other funding for Meals on Wheels
Mhm.
also. So does that automatically make it to where the whole Meals on Wheels program is open for us to go in and look at?
Not necessarily. My understanding, we could talk more with legal, is that we are sort of limited to what the funding that we provide.
How do you sort
Proportionately,
that out?
I don't understand how we would do that. Like proportionally to the program, or like we can only check for $70,000 what they used our, how do we know it's our 70,000? You understand what I'm saying? How do we verify that?
Yeah, so we might have to try to flush that out a little bit more. Like I said, we will try to match invoices and receipts to what we've provided, what we've given in funding for specific services, and verify that it was used for those specific services. I think our scope gets limited beyond that in terms of other funding and our ability to look at and verify other funding
You can only
sources.
say, show me $70,000 worth of expenses to prove that that's what they spent it on, the money that we gave them.
Yes, that's my understanding. Like I said, there might be opportunity to flesh that out a little bit more and learn more about where our scope ends.
Is this a reimbursement one? A lot of ours are reimbursements.
Yes,
So they do it and then they give us receipts and we pay
Mhm.
off of the billings.
yes,
Number two, we don't have to accept these contracts with the Department of Commerce, right?
No.
We can choose to not accept them. Department of Commerce will find some other venue to run them through. We've always chosen to accept them because then we have our audience and the people get a chance to talk on them and know about them. But we don't have to accept these things. We can tell Commerce that we don't want it.
Mhm.
And they'll figure another way to get it to CAP. So you kind of have to play which way do you want, or which one is more efficient. I agree with Ron. We need to continue looking at these things, and I would vet some of that information out just for our knowledge.
Mhm.
But I don't know if it's a point where I would necessarily hold this up for this dollar amount, if that makes any sense.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll certainly be looking more closely at that now, because
Yeah, I would
there's
just
some
ask you to
interest
kind
in
of vet
that.
some of that
Mhm.
out and see how that runs and we
Yeah.
try and answer Ron's questions. I think that's
Sure.
valid.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. We have a motion. Anything else? Okay. Call for a vote. Those in favor? Aye. Item 11.
Okay, item 11 is an agreement with Housing Opportunities of Southwest Washington. This is for a project known as the Phoenix House. The county's been involved in this project for quite a number of years. And HOSWA is newer to managing the supportive services on site. So this project has about 20 units of housing where they serve individuals who are coming out of inpatient substance use treatment. So they'll come out of treatment and into one of these units, and the supportive services help to work with individuals staying, and most often also their children, and just help get stabilized, work on that self-sufficiency plan, and transition out into permanent housing. So we have seen, there was a question about movement in this program. We have seen some more movement in the last couple of years in terms of more frequent openings in the program, serving more people. HOSWA is happy to come and do another presentation as they're just ended, I think, their second year managing the supportive services at Phoenix House. They're happy to come and do another full presentation and kind of share out some more of those details with the board about that. But we have seen some more movement than we had the few years prior, so.
Okay. And personally, I always welcome that because the purpose of these programs when they do them up is to help these people bridge this gap, and then they should be on their own and should be doing there. I don't necessarily, if we're just supporting an alternative lifestyle on the backs of the taxpayer, I have an issue with that. If we're moving them from this step to this step and then they're taking care of themselves, it's a lot more palatable to me. And that was one of the, I think the reasons back when I was okay with transferring to HOSWA, because that was their goal, to try and try and move these people more and get them past, bridge that
Mm.
gap. And so if they want to keep us up to, and it sounds like they are moving more people, so I would always welcome them in to give us those stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
With that being said, this program here, does it have, is it monitored? I mean, do the people that are going into this program, do they get counseling and help? So it's not just, here's their facility, it has strings. In other words, you have to do.
You're participating in outpatient treatment and as well as
Excellent.
accessing other community resources. And that's part of the role of the supportive services here is
Excellent.
to make sure that they're staying connected with that treatment and moving towards other goals, work or school or whatever that might look like.
Excellent. That
And if I
helps.
remember right, I think there might have been a budgeting component. They're trying to work with them on finances and stuff
Mhm.
too.
Yep, managing money and yep.
That's right up my
No.
alley. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I would entertain a motion for item 11.
Move approval of item number 11, the agreement with Oswa to provide supportive housing and case management services at Phoenix House.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the contract with Oswa and the Phoenix House. Last call. Okay, call for a vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a couple minutes. Councilman Hill, did you have something? You usually visit us when you have something.
And believe me, gentlemen, you've heard this, what I'm about to say before, so please indulge me. My name is Jim Hill. I live at 1100 North 22nd Avenue, Kelso, Washington. I'm here once again on behalf of Team Rubicon. You gentlemen have had the unfortunate pleasure of listening to me talk about Team Rubicon over the past couple of weeks, and I certainly appreciate an opportunity this morning to once again speak to you about it for the benefit. And please indulge me, because I know you're very bored with what I've had to say about this, but please indulge me so that I can sort of briefly describe who Team Rubicon is for your vast television audience, and of course, this massive number of folks that are attending this morning, who are all ears waiting to hear what I have to say. Briefly, Team Rubicon is a national organization of volunteers. Our backbone, when the program was first initiated, the organization was first founded, was to utilize veterans. They are the backbone of the organization. They have the training, skill set, motivation to be of service, to continue, even though they've put the uniform up, they still want to serve the community. And Team Rubicon's mission is to respond to disasters, local, state, and national. Team Rubicon represents a ready force of responders to facilitate recovery, and that's essential, as well as to help the first responders in emergency situations involving disasters in any way they can. They only ask that they be offered the opportunity to help. They also ask that the larger community of emergency responsible people, responding people, coordinate with them and allow them to be integrated into the overall disaster relief program. These folks do things like use chainsaws when asked to come in and help with windblown trees, and we all have had windstorms, various sorts of situations. These guys will fill sandbags. These guys will help muck out houses when there's flooding and those sorts of things. And not only that, they remain on site as long as the need is there. The problem that we have in this county is that folks don't know who we are and what we do. I've come before you today to ask you at a future meeting to put Team Rubicon on the agenda, allow us to come in and do a presentation to you and also assist in getting the key players, the movers and the shakers when it comes to disaster relief, our overall response program to disasters in the county. Allow us to tell these individuals, the department heads, the different agencies about who we are, what we can do, and how we want to help. The fact of the matter is, Rubicon is one phone call away from responding with trained personnel, skills and expertise, and motivation. Quite frankly, they are successfully integrated in lots of first responder, disaster relief programs. We're well integrated nationally in these programs. We have a proven track record. And the fact of the matter is, as I've said before, gentlemen, it's a matter that disasters are going to happen, whether locally or state. If we can develop a team here in Cowlitz County, some of those people will be deployed and asked to deploy nationally. All will be asked to be deployed locally and statewide. And those folks represent force enhancement, people ready, capable, and able to respond. The first thing that happens in any disaster, local resources are overwhelmed. It's that simple. Having these people in place, having them integrated into the system, the overall disaster relief program itself, and having them readily available and having our agencies know that these people are available and a simple phone call away be a good thing, not only for the vets themselves, but for the agencies. And frankly, I'm hoping you'll give us a few minutes of your time to allow us to come in. And I promise you, it won't be me that comes in, but give us a few minutes at some future date when we can come in and talk about this. Thank you.
Jim, they don't have to be veterans, correct, to serve? It can be anybody.
You do not have to be a veteran. They just happen to be what we saw as a beginning because of their training, expertise, the fact they've been there, done that, and they know how to work as a team, which is essential. But now we have doctors, lawyers, even occasional elected officials who participate.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I thank you, and please consider it and find me 15 minutes if you will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, building and planning, we need to head into that. Closed public hearing, just a reminder, closed public hearing is limited to people that have spoken on it before at probably at Planning Commission when the hearings were held.
Correct.
And did we have anybody?
We did not have any public testimony, nor did we have agency testimony at the Planning Commission, but we did receive comments as part of the SEPA comment period, which
Okay.
were general in nature.
Okay.
Perfect. So good morning, Commissioners. Sahara Cooey, Senior Planner, Building and Planning. Before you today is closed record public hearing of case number 2570.02, Cooper Hill Subdivision Preliminary Plat. At the December 17th, 2025 regular meeting, the Planning Commission held a public hearing on the preliminary rural plat application for a proposed subdivision titled Cooper Hill Subdivision. The project is located off of Cooper Hill Court, Castle Rock. This is near the intersection of Spirit Lake Highway and Shaffron Road. The applicant is Chilton Development Services. The subject properties were previously part of a 4-lot short subdivision within the last 5 years. Because of this, the proposal is subject to review under the Cowlitz County Rural Subdivision Code and why we're before you today. The proposal includes the creation of 1 additional lot and the reconfiguration of 3 existing lots. Lots will range from 2 to 4.17 acres upon completion. All current and proposed lots will be served by individual on-site septic systems, and public water will be provided by the Cowlitz County Public Works Water System. Access is proposed from Cooper Hill Court via individual and shared driveways, which is an existing type C private road off of Shaffron Road. Following the staff presentation, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to recommend approval of the preliminary plat, subject to the conditions of approval outlined in the staff report. Based on the findings, conclusions, and conditions in the December 2nd, 2025 staff report, staff recommends approval of the Cooper Hill subdivision preliminary plat. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So this doesn't actually put another road on Spirit Lake Highway. It hooks it into Shaffron and then.
Yeah,
then you
it's
connect
off of
Spirit Lake.
Shaffron,
Yeah.
correct, yeah, and the
Shaffron's
WashDOT,
like a dead end, right?
correct, yeah, it's a
runs up.
cul-de-sac, yeah. Yes, yep, WashDOT had a plat condition in the preliminary approval for the short subdivision that no direct access off of Spirit Lake be provided, so.
Probably makes sense right there because it's kind of a wild site visibility around that corner. So that
Yeah.
probably makes some sense. Okay. Any questions on that? I know Shaffron, there's another development that's approved up there. So I know there's a little activity going up, well, going up everywhere, but yeah. Okay, I can open. I don't think anybody here has spoken, but I can open for public comment. I don't think there's anybody that's here, right?
Correct.
Okay. Be easy, we'll just close it. If no other questions, I'll just entertain a motion.
Move approval of the building and planning proposal item number 12, preliminary rural subdivision plat approval.
Okay, we have a
For
motion
Cooper Hill
to
subdivision.
approve the rural subdivision plat. We've already asked for comments that we could take, so we'll just go to the vote. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Back to public, couple of things that you might just be interested in. I don't, if any, I know Flo lives out in Castle Rock area. Barnes Drive that we had during that water event, we lost part of that road. They're starting work on that today to put that back together. So that's good news. Board of Health coming up on the 27th. We're closed next Monday. No meeting on next Tuesday. So if you show up, you'll be sitting here by yourself. Well, you can come back and visit. Oh, I don't care. But okay.
There won't be any candy though.
Yeah. Anything?
Just a simple comment to the previous speaker and his proposals or espousing upon the opportunity for help. I know from my standpoint, I would need specifics, not they, them, their, what, or whatever talking, but a history of what they have done, what people are specifically available locally, and how the connection could be made rather than and at this time, I see a cloud in the sky rather than feet on the ground. So I'm just supporting you. If that proposal comes forward, there are details that I would need, and I would expect the county employees would need in order to engage this kind of opportunity.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Ron. I think it maybe better fits through Department of Emergency Management and how, if that provides some opportunity for them, I don't know, but yeah, I agree.
Well, and then through People's Rights and others, there are people working on emergency response plans. So
Yeah,
there's other vehicles, not through you and through the county employees, but through these others that could direct the resource and make it available. But again, at the 11th hour, you need names and phone numbers and specifics and some idea that you're having someone going to run a chainsaw. Okay, they've got to have some experience and chaps and everything else to do that. It's just not some person walking out with their jeans on and doing that.
Yeah.
I might do it, but we are liable for anyone else doing these things.
Yeah. That's a good point. Hey, in my past, I did some volunteer work up in the Gifford Pinchot, and I always had to go through a chainsaw certification class to be able to operate a saw up in there. So anything else? Okay. As always, thanks for participating in your government. We will adjourn.